Welcome to the WACO Experience, an American story,
We the people.
with your host, D. Scott Smith.
In order to form a more perfect union.
Interviews with leaders in business, government, and nonprofit organizations.
Promote the general welfare.
Jobs, products and services, and infrastructure for strong communities.
Secure the blessings of liberty.
The WACO Experience is an American story, a story of communities across America. It is your story.
10 years old, we lose our house to a electrical fire, total loss, burns to the ground, nothing but brick walls standing is all it is.
Disaster strikes fast, and the Midnight Hope Foundation is there for families in McLennan County. Today on the WACO Experience, an American story, we'll hear more from Dakota Dees and why his personal story led him to form Midnight Hope with 3 other founders, including Paul Caveza. I'm your host, D. Scott Smith. Each week I bring you stories from leaders in business, government, and nonprofit organizations. You can learn more about this program, our sponsors, and the podcast version of this show by going to our website, thewacoexperience.com. This program is made possible by sponsors. Quality Cabinets. Your home is an extension of your personality. Smooth, clean, and elegant. Quality Cabinets is the perfect choice for the modern aesthetic. Visit the Design Center at 720 New Dallas Highway in Waco. Quality Cabinets, modern design, everyday comfort. Call 254-744-0938 and visit the website qualitycabinetstx.com. Christian Family Law Solutions is a Christian-based, solutions-focused mediation provider. They help their clients avoid costly litigation and remain focused on the most important priorities in their lives, creating paths for peaceful resolution, not brokenness. Call 254-777-5171 and on the web, 1c6.law. Heart of Texas TV Indoor Billboards. My friend J.B. James Battle, former helicopter pilot for the U.S. Army, and his team at Hot TV, amplify your brand where it matters most. Be seen where your customers eat, work, shop, and play. Learn more on the web, hotdigitaltv.com. Waco Independent Film Festival, named one of the coolest film festivals in the world. The Waco Independent Film Festival is celebrating its 10th anniversary, July 16th to 19th. WacoIndy.com. Ray's Automotive Specialist. My car is my baby. When it needs service, I call Ray. Certified technicians, Christian values. Domestic or import, Ray has you covered. Call 254-495-7810 and on the web at fixmycarray.com. He's got here back at the Baylor Club. It is a beautiful spring day here at McLean Stadium. I'm with Paul Caveza and Dakota Dees from the Midnight Hope Foundation. We're going to talk about what that is. It's a 501c3 charitable organization. But just a little background, I went into the Air Force in February of 1982. And Memorial Day of that year, I got notification that our house had burned to the foundation. We lost everything. The only thing I had was the bag of blue and green clothes that the Air Force gave me and a suitcase that my mom had sent on a Greyhound bus to San Antonio, Texas. And that was it. That's everything that I had I could carry by myself in one trip. And I will tell you that to this very day, there are things that I miss. Paul, let's start with you and talk about what is the Midnight Hope Foundation and what are you involved in and who benefits?
Well, D. Scott, first, I just want to say thank you for having us on this radio show here today and just taking the opportunity to learn more about what our foundation's about, who we are, and our sole purpose of how we can give back to the community and what we're here to do. So, long story, Midnight Hope, we're here to serve the greater Waco area to benefit those families that are displaced by natural disasters, home fires, floods, tornadoes, things of that nature. Be able to provide a gift certificate and a hotel voucher for the night of the event for these families that are displaced. I'll let Dakota kind of talk about the origin of Midnight Hope and why it was birthed and kind of the sole purpose. We saw a greater need in what we wanted to do just from previous experiences in we saw something that Waco needed, and we talked about it, kind of stepped to the plate and created it. Now I'll kind of let Dakota dive a little bit more into that real quick.
Yeah. So the thought behind this thing when we first started it, well, it's a kind of a long personal story from me. 10 years old, we lose our house to a electrical fire, total loss, burns to the ground, nothing but brick walls standing is all it is. And as a 10-year-old, you don't understand. I didn't understand the financial strain it put on my family. I didn't understand all the stress that they were going through, my parents in particular, but I had a sister in college. I had a brother. My brother was already out of the house, but still very close to the family. He actually ran a crew for my dad. I mean, it affected everything. It affected the business. It affected my sister's school stuff. And then I don't know, I guess I was in the 5th grade. I remember sitting there in the front yard. My dad finally gets home. He had to drive like 3 hours from out of town from a project, and gets home, walks out into the yard, sits down in the front yard swing we had out there, and just starts crying, like slow sobbing. And at 10 years old, that was the first time I'd ever seen my dad cry. I mean, through funerals, seen him wreck a four-wheeler, hurt himself plenty of times. Swarm of bees got him one time, nothing, not a tear. And that day it broke him, and I, at 10, I just thought it's because we lost all our stuff. I mean, all our memories, we had tons of photo albums because that was the thing back then. Nothing was digital. All of our wildlife mounts. So like my first deer, my bobcat, all the memories he had in that, plus all of our guns, which was a huge thing to us. Big hunting family. And we'd lost all that stuff, and most of it irreplaceable, because it's sentimental value rather than financial. And that's what I thought broke him. And now as a father and a husband myself, it wasn't that. It was the fact that we were all looking to him for answers, and for once he didn't have it. Man's man, rugged, tough, could go through just about anything. And that's what broke him, was the fact that he didn't know where we were supposed to stay that night. He was defeated. You go out and you work your butt off to have to provide for your family, and then in an instant it's taken away, and luckily we had good insurance at the time. So we were fine long-term. I mean, we were taken care of, but those first few nights, I mean, he had to go back out of town and get his travel trailer, bring it home so we would have somewhere to stay, those for the first few weeks, really. But luckily, back then insurance showed up. So they showed up day up. I remember the adjuster, I was 10, but I remember the adjuster showing up, writing us a check. Funny thing, I ended up working with this adjuster when I got into the restoration industry. He's become a good friend. I know him really well. But he was a young adjuster back then. His name was Brent Munden. Anyways, he's retired now. But yeah, he showed up and wrote a check. That's the thing of the past. You're not going to get an adjuster the day of a fire, and your insurance agents, they can't show up and write checks either for just temporary assistance. And so, it may be 24 to 48 hours before you even get a phone call from an adjuster. And it's probably going to be a week before he ever actually gets there in most cases. That's kind of where this came from. As I got in the industry and I started dealing with folks at house fires and other disasters, and I've seen all sorts. It's just house fires are the common one here. I've seen the same thing. I've just seen people just devastated emotionally by the fact that they just don't know what to do. And so I've got those talking points. I have the experience. First off, I know how they feel. I understand it, so I can empathize with it. But then I know what's next. I know what to tell them to look for. I know the questions they don't even know to ask yet. The things that they're going to stumble over the next 2-3 days. Some of those are critical in that moment. They're not all. A lot of it's going to be totally fine, but sometimes it is critical to, hey, you're not asking the right question. Have you thought about this yet? No, I haven't. Have you thought about the medications that you need that are essential to you, to keep you running? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I've got this in the fridge. Well, we need to go in and get it. If the fridge wasn't affected, power's out, it's going to lose its temperature. But if the fridge wasn't affected, let's say the fire was in a bedroom or something, well, hey, let's go get that stuff out. As soon as the fire department clears the scene, we'll go in there and I'll help you get that out. Or if it's medication that's in the bathroom or in the kitchen, wherever you keep your medication, and it's affected, controlled substance, not like you can just go ask the pharmacy to refill it. He's going to look at you like you're crazy, but the fire marshal has a form you can fill out to get it refilled, without having to go back through your doctor and all that stuff. And so those are things that I know that people don't know to ask for. Firearms. We're in Texas. Everybody's got guns. Soot is extremely corrosive to firearms. And so if you don't know that, hey, you need to get the guns out tonight, probably wipe them down, you're going to have a big problem. If they weren't already ruined, they're going to be, or the fact that after a fire specifically, most people in the area know that you're not going to be there. So break-ins do go, the chances of a break-in increase after a fire, which is extremely sad, but that's just the world we live in. So that's kind of what generated the idea in me. And then I rounded up a group of guys that could relate to it. Paul, great fundraiser, great guy, very well liked and respected and plugged in and, connected around here. And so I knew he was going to be essential. And he actually told me no like 3 times before I ever actually explained what we were trying to do. And then he couldn't tell me no at that point because he understood where I was coming from. And he's been all excited and all in and probably has worked more on this than any of us. And then Barney Owen, Barney is the general manager for Belfour Restoration, great businessman, understands the numbers really well, knows how to keep my ambitions in check, which is great because I'm the dreamer of the group. He can tell me if I'm stretching a little far on an idea and kind of bring me back down. And then Joe Brown, whenever I was coming up with this plan, I was actually rebuilding Joe's house. He had a pretty significant fire here in Waco, really, really bad fire actually, and such an intriguing guy. So Joe is a retired Army Ranger. He actually played in the NFL. So he played for Ohio State, played, I believe 3 seasons for Seattle, gave up his NFL career to become an Army Ranger after 9/11, served in Iraq. Crazy story, falls like 30, 40 feet down a stairwell shaft, ends his military career, spends his rest of his career up to this point, I guess, doing several different things, but essentially became like a motivational speaker and a leadership coach, and has recently signed with Texas Farm Bureau. So he is internal for them now, and he helps develop their teams. Great guy, really cool story, good overcomer kind of person, and that's critical to what we're doing. It just lines right up. It's parallel. And so I had asked Joe to get involved. And so he's sitting as our VP. We're actually now developing a board of directors. So we have them all selected. So we're getting ready to have our first official board meeting outside of just the executive guys that started this thing, because we need fresh ideas. We need to make sure it stays fluid and doesn't get stagnant. So we found some people that have really already been involved in some sense, that just they like the mission and they want to continue to see it grow. So we'll release that as soon as we get those people onboarded, and we'll probably do some personal profiles for all them on our social media pages and stuff. So be on the lookout for that.
Those are some startling numbers. And Dakota, for you to have gone through this with your family personally, and then your parents 10 years before that, now you've taken action and you've created this organization. Let's talk about where people can learn more information. What's the website? How do people learn about it?
So try to find out some more information. You can go to our website, midnighthope.com, which was graciously donated by Digital Media Butterfly. I just want to say a huge thanks to them and their team, Karen Brown and all of them over there, working with us on this. They believe in our vision and our mission, and wanted to be a partner and just be able to kind of donate back to the community and to us as well, to get the word out, to get the visibility, or have a place for people to go to and find information, and also donate. So to answer your question, you can go to the website. Has all of our information. You can meet the team, meet all the co-founders, Dakota, myself, Barney, and Joe, and get a background of each one of us and what we do, why we want to be a part of Midnight Hope. And also kind of just tell us the Midnight Hope story, the origination of it, why we started it. It's a group of 4 friends, and it really boils down to, kind of going off of stories and everything. We came up with a slogan, Midnight Hope Foundation, born from experience, driven by compassion. We had the experience of living through these house fires, the questions of what to do, what not to do, the steps to take, and just the compassion of who we are as human beings, and wanting to be able to give back to the community, and just be able to be there for the people that we see day in and day out. I mean, we've had friends throughout this journey already who we've helped, showing up to the house and realizing it's, people that we know while the house is burning down to the ground. Well, there's not very much words you can say at that point in time. It's just it's the darkest night, darkest hour of those people's days. It could be afternoon, it could be 12 p.m. Noon outside, it could be 11 a.m. Most of the time it's in the morning, early morning fires, things like that, or late night. It's the darkest point, but we want to be there to be a beacon of hope, give people, compassion, be there with experience, be able to help them, guide them through these next steps, and offer just a token of gratitude and be able to give them a gift certificate like Dakota's explaining, and hotel and everything like that for the night of the event. So you can find more information at our website. Once again, that's midnighthope.com. We're on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Midnight Hope Foundation. Any of those links, you can go in and you can click on donate. You can sign up for one-time donations. You can do monthly donations. If you want to mail a check, you can mail it to our PO box. We'll get those. We'll come pick it up from you as well. Any of that information could be filled out to where also on the link on the website, there's 2 links. If you need more information or if you request assistance of the United Men, we like Coach said earlier, we don't hear of every fire. We hear of a lot of them, but we don't hear of everyone every night. So we ask if you're displaced, if you're experiencing this, feel free to reach out to our website. There's a link on there that I need help, and then another one of how can I help. And that's the volunteer side of how individuals, companies, businesses, and everything like that can go in and be able to fill out that information on how you can help out Midnight Help or Midnight Hope, or how you want to be a part of it. Whether it's going out, training with us to show up to these house fires or floods or whatever it may be, and be able to consult with these families and be able to offer our assistance as the foundation, or whether it's hey, my business wants to be able to sponsor Lost Foundation, and how can we look about doing that on a grander scale, or hey, we want to host an event for y'all, as a beneficiary, and really spotlight y'all's mission, because that's something that we believe in as our core, as our company roles. Recently, we have done that with Richard Supply Company here in town. Bubba Badrick there just joined on as VP of Sales, and he was wanting to get involved in Waco, Texas, community-based 501c3s. Came across, saw Midnight Hope, filled out an application on the website, sent it in. We had lunch with him a couple of times, and he was like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of Midnight Hope and y'all's mission. Because as a dad, he was sitting back, hey, if my daughter's favorite toy gets burned up, what do I do to replace it? So we got together, and him and his team and their vendors were able to put together 100 different boxes. And that's filled with toys, that's filled with different things for the mom and dad, teenager boys and girls, and then little boys and girls as well, different age groups, which, includes waters and notepads, toys, different grooming kits, for different ages and things like that, which was something more than what we dreamed on. We wanted to grow this thing, but we need outside vision on how to grow, the foundation and what we want to be able to do to give back more and more and more within the community. Bubba had that vision, and we acted on it, and him and his team were able to put together 100 different boxes for this and for our foundation, which is, we have a lockup storage unit, temperature controlled. And basically as we run down, his team gets more and more put together. It's awesome to sit back and see that people want to help. People see this, because it could happen to me. It could happen to Dakota. It could happen to you, D. Scott, or anybody here at the Baylor Club having lunch. You never know when it's going to happen. You may be home, you may not be home, but you don't know how to prepare for it. What to prepare for. Do I keep a go bag? Do I keep this? Do I keep an extra, stashed credit card in the car? You don't know. And that's something that, on social media, we throughout the year, we run different campaigns on, kind of how to prepare for a house fire. What's their, should we keep a go bag of clothes, one in the car and one maybe in the garage or something? If one gets burned up, you maybe have another set to be able to go to. But we sit there to try to help prevent as much as possible to prepare people when the time comes, or if the time comes. We don't want it to happen. We don't want to be able to go out and do this, but we want to be able to provide the help, the hope, and just the compassion to help get these people through these times.
Yeah, we've been endorsed by several groups here in town. Two of the most important to me obviously the first one would be the Greater Waco Hotel Lodging Association. So when we put this thing together and we come up with a $250 amount to put on a gift card to give these folks, when you take into account a hotel room, anywhere from 100 to 150 a night, that consumes a lot of that budget there, if that's all you have for the next night or two. And so we went and presented. I actually took a Waco fire marshal with me because he had a bunch of statistics to share, just to kind of help paint the picture of how many displacements, how many fires they were working in a normal year in Waco. And I presented Midnight Hope to them, and thankfully, so Marissa McGuire, the GM of the AC Marriott downtown, she's the one that got us in there, got us involved, introduced us to everybody. So we present this stuff to them. Didn't really know what we were even asking for. But Marissa, fortunately, she had come from DFW, the market up there, and they used to give vouchers for displaced families up there from disasters. And so she had this idea like, hey, can present to them. Maybe we can get this done here so that, y'all can get some donations from these hotels and help these people out. Ended up having a huge turnout from it. So, I mean, we probably had, probably 30 hotels donated last year. Didn't end up using all of them. I think we helped 29 families last year with gift cards. And only maybe 16, 18 or so needed hotel stays. A lot of people have family here, and if they do, we always suggest you go stay with family. Not for the purpose of saving the gift cards, because we obviously had plenty. It was it's always the reason of, especially if you have kids, it's a lot more comfortable when they can go stay with family, the grandparents or the aunts and uncles and cousins, things like that. And so it kind of brings the stress down a little bit, at least for a day or two. Then usually they're tired of their family. We got involved with them. They officially endorsed us. They voted on it one day, which meant a lot to us, because at the end of the day, this is just four good old boys trying to make a difference. We're not exactly professionals at this. We're faking it till we make it. They're a really organized group, very classy, refined, and so they have helped us out a ton. They continue to give. Then the other group that meant a lot to us is the Waco Professional Firefighters Association. Not necessarily the city. It is Waco firefighters. So all of the Waco firefighters are members of this. They endorsed us outside of, say, the city. So the city's not endorsing us, but the firefighters are. Great group. They do a ton of work in this community. They give back a ton. They have their own big fundraiser for the families of their members, and we're pretty heavy in participating in that as well. But these guys, they saw the same need that we did. They just didn't know what to do about it. Unfortunately, when they're called, your house is on fire. Their job is to ensure that you are out of the house and safe, and then they will do their best to save their house, just to save the house for you. And it's just, it can be a mess. Sometimes they do a wonderful job because they get there early enough, and sometimes they're facing pretty bad odds in a really big uphill battle. And usually by that point, you're definitely going to be displaced. The unfortunate part is they have to get back in service. So they can't sit around all day and talk to you, and they can't, they don't necessarily have the resources to offer that next step. They have to literally, they get done with that, ensure everybody's safe, that building's secure. They're going to get back in a truck, and they've got to go back to the station and get ready for the next call. And so a lot of times you're just kind of left sitting there, and so they see what we're doing. They appreciate it. And so that's why they stood up and endorsed us as well, which goes a long ways, because it's a pretty well-respected group in this community.
So let's talk about the future with Midnight Hope. And what do you guys see for the community here, and how can people be involved?
To be fair, again, we're four good old boys trying to figure this thing out. And that's why we've started turning to outside ideas to try to make sure that we don't just become stagnant. Our initial gift card limit was $250, and that's what it is for now. Our plan, my initial plan was by the end of this year, actually, to have it to where we could increase it, be in a financial position where we can increase that to $500. And that's strictly donations, and then we have a few corporate partners. Artisan Roofing has been a big supporter of us. We've had some some just big one-off donations from individuals, really from all over the state, which is kind of weird, but people we know and they just like us and hear the mission. And we want to grow. We don't take any money out of this thing. It is strictly donation, and we give it right back. Most of our events that we host are sponsored events, so we'll take in sponsors on those, so it's not costing.
Yeah, I was a part of the fish fry that you guys had. Yeah.
Waco Fire, the firefighters cooked for that. I mean, they donated the food and cooked it. Twisted Sisters patio bar down there, they donated the venue for us for that deal. Yeah, that was a great turnout. And that was more really just to get the word out there. We weren't necessarily trying to make a bunch of money off of that. We had a few raffle items that made us some decent money on it, and it allowed us to go throughout the rest of the year last year. And the end goal is to bump that to 500 by the end of the year. I don't know that we'll ever expand it beyond that, just because you start getting into some tax liability things after that.
Well, it's a big thing just to give hope.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it really is.
That's all it is. It's in the middle of the night. You don't know what to do. I have answers. I can give you some guidance. I can't fix everything for you necessarily, but I can give you some guidance. I can give you a little bit of relief to help you through that night. If I can avoid a mom or a dad or grandparents feeling the way that my parents felt when we went through it, I mean, that's a win to me. And I guess a couple other things that we have discussed committing to in the future. One of the ugly parts of the restoration industry that I have to deal with on a regular basis is biohazard cleanup from in-home suicides, things like that. Those things are pretty costly because of the disposal fees of biohazard material. And so I would like to get this to a point to where we could, when somebody has to deal with that, we could cover the cost of that cleanup as well. So that is the next initiative that we are working towards. There's nothing worse than losing a loved one, especially to a suicide or some other dark situation, and then getting a $3,000 or $4,000 bill on top of that just to get rid of the mess. And so that is something else we're moving towards. And then I would really like to have a scholarship fund at some point for youth that make an impact, because that's what all this is about. It's about making an impact. It doesn't matter if it's a little bitty or if it's huge. It's subjective, right? It's going to be little to some people, and this thing, what we do already, is huge to some people. I mean, we've had tons of great feedback, seen lots of tears, had lots of tears with people, and a little bit of kindness goes a long ways. I mean, we should all know that, right? And I want to get to the point where we start taking in stories and asking for stories of youth, or it's not even youth, just anybody in this community that is doing something kind that makes an impact with no expectations of anything in return. That's what we want. I want somebody that just does it. I don't necessarily care if it's a kid. I don't want to set it up on a scholarship basis per se, because I want everybody to be included. If there's a 40-year-old man that helps somebody with something just with no expectations, just pure kindness, let's award him for that. Just create a culture of kindness and giving in this community. I mean, there already is one, but we can expand on it. We can all do better.
The WACO Experience, an American Story, is a production of D. Scott Smith Company, all rights reserved. Thank you for listening.